you doing? Hello, my people. Hello, my people. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. It is March 24th. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining me. And for those that missed me, I'm back. For those that didn't catch my crazy live yesterday where I was having technical difficulties, it was ridiculous. I decided to just keep it simple, use my phone for today. And today we're going to keep it thorough like I always do. Today I'm going to be speaking on how AI is contributing to salary cuts. There's a new study out finding that companies are looking to make AI investments, of course, as we all see. But the way that they're paying for these AI investments is mainly through providing smaller raises, lower bonuses, reduced equity, benefits cuts, and even some layoffs. As we already know that this is obviously happening, and this has been a focus for a lot of companies as this big AI boom is going through. So that means AI is going to contribute to you not getting a salary, or you losing out on a promotion or any type of benefits, or reducing forms of equity. So imbalance all throughout. So we're going to get into it. The article is actually in HR Drive. It's an HR Drive article. As you can see, AI boom drives worker compensation cuts, studies find. I'm going to go ahead and read the article. Let me get myself situated, move you guys over here. Yes, this is what's going on, and this is crazy, but let me get into it. All right, the article, as you can see, is by Alexis. He's an actual reporter. You can also do contribution writings, and I plan to do that also for HR Drive. I actually read you guys some of my articles too, because I have some articles as well. I do a lot of writing myself. So for now, we're going to focus on this and how AI, as I've been speaking, is driving the future of work and changing the landscape of what modern work is, and in a bad way because of how it is being invested in, obviously by taking from us, the humans, to invest in these technological advances when we don't even know the actual return on investment, as I've been speaking about. But let me get into it. All right, AI boom drives worker compensation, cuts study fines. Both jobs and paychecks are taking a hit as companies ramp up artificial intelligence spending to avoid falling behind competitors, according to research. The typical mimic what others do without knowing actually what we're doing, if it's actually worthy, valuable, and profitable. But I digress. This is something that corporations always do. They mimic and follow behind and do what others are doing, assuming that the same results that others are having, they will have as well, without really evaluating what's hindering why the business is not actually being profitable. But I digress. Let's get into it. All right, dive brief. More than half of U.S. companies are reducing or plan to reduce employee compensation to free up capital for artificial intelligence investments. ResumeBuilder.com found in a recent survey. By the end of the year, 54% of companies will have cut employee compensation and 26% will have laid off workers to fund AI efforts, according to the findings. The compensation reductions extend beyond base salary, affecting bonuses, equity, or stock awards, raises, and benefits. The firm surveyed 866 U.S. business leaders. That's a lot of business leaders that are looking to do this. Companies are making a clear calculation. AI investment is the priority, and employee compensation is where the budget will come from. Stacey Haller, Resume Builder's chief career advisor, said in a press release on the report, "This is not just layoffs. Bonuses, raises, equity, benefits, and base pay are all being cut simultaneously across industries." Dive insight. The study comes amid growing concern about the impact of AI on the workforce. Since 2023, AI has been mentioned in 91,753 U.S. job cut announcements, roughly 3% of all layoffs during that period, according to the outplacement firm Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. On March 11th, software company Atlassian said it was slashing 10% of its workforce, citing AI investment as a key driver of the decision. These actions are intended to rebalance, that word, rebalance the company to accelerate building the future of teamwork in the era of AI. The company said in a securities filing, how are we building a team when we're letting the team go. But I digress. Let me keep going. This includes self funding further investments in key strategic priorities, such as AI and enterprise sales, reorganizing its teams to move with more focus and speed across the Atlantean system of work, and optimizing for long term operational efficiency and sustainability. In another recent example, digital payments company Block said last month that it planned to shrink its headcount from 10,000 employees to just over 6,000 employees. So they're letting go of 4,000 workers while leaning on AI to replace the eliminated 4,000 workers. Fear of falling behind competitors is a primary reason companies are cutting jobs and compensation to fund AI investments, according to resumebuilder.com. As I said in the previous opening, this is what corporations do. They mimic and they lean on best practices of the idea of looking at competitors and assuming that competitors are only doing well because what they're doing, their strategy actually works, with not really understanding how their business actually operates and investigating and evaluating within their business and evaluating how employees are working and why they're working the way they're working to truly understand what may be hindering, advancements and higher performance rates and more effective ways of operating. Instead of focusing on that, they choose to mimic and follow behind competitors. But that is something that is taught, in colleges and stuff, to mimic actual behaviors versus to actually invest in understanding how your business is operating. But I digress. Let me keep going. 3/4 of respondents said AI will give them a competitive advantage, while 74% said it will lead to revenue growth. More than half, which is about 56%, cited board or investor pressure to adopt the technology. As I mentioned, this is coming from the higher ups with the assumption in the drastic investment in AI. And if you haven't followed my last live, it was where I spoke about how the investments in AI are the main focus and the key to shifting the idea of not only the modern workplace, but who's working. It's all a systemic ideology and practice behind it. Check out my last live and you'll see. I forget the name of it. I'll go back and put a pin to link that from me saying that here. Boards and investors are asking hard questions about AI strategy, and leaders feel they cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. Haller said the risk of falling behind is being treated as more urgent than the risk of losing talent. This is a short-sighted trade-off. When the job market shifts back in employees' favor, these companies will find it much harder to attract and retain the people they need. A recent report from EY painted a rosier picture of AI's workforce impact. In the EY study, more than 2/3 of CEOs said they expected to maintain and increase workforce levels in 2026 despite AI investments, while the share who anticipated reduced headcount dropped to 24% in December, down from 46% at the beginning of 2025. Many respondents expressed the view that AI will reshape roles rather than eliminate jobs outright, shifting employees away from routine tasks and toward higher value work. This is reflective of the fact that CEOs are taking a realistic and pragmatic view on the need to add new skill sets and to keep human oversight in many AI use cases for the near future. Andrea Guerzoni, Global Vice Chair of EY Parathenon, said to EY Report. Okay. Hi, thanks for joining me, Baldwin. Thank you for being here. If you check my last lives where I spoke about AI, I did one where it was on a recent study that showed that AI doesn't necessarily contribute to worthy performance. When I say worthy performance, I mean individuals' ability to actually work and achieve what needs to be achieved. It actually resulted in individuals working harder, taking on more responsibilities that they're actually not even being paid for, and then in the end, resulting in them not even being truly productive, meaning that AI has not really demonstrated a return on investment when it comes to being implemented into the workforce. So many studies have found that, and regardless of that, we still have about 26% of individuals saying that they've been laid off because of AI. And in this high push for the investment in AI is actually, as I mentioned when I first started, It's the mimicking and the fear of missing out, the fear that something is going to come about, because the workplace is not investing in AI. And as I said, the study that was conducted through Berkeley found that only a quarter of AI initiatives hit expected return on investment, and just 16% actually scaled. So we have all of these investments in AI, but there's no actual return on investment. That is something that must be understood, and that is not being recognized or spoken about enough, because we have so many people screaming about the benefits of AI and how you can be productive when it's not really seeing any clear revenue gains or cost savings when we look at all the billions that are being put in. And that becomes that and that comes from actually the complexity of it, the lack of oversight, and also the extra work. Like, there's so much that goes into it. So when we look at how compensation is being slashed for the investment in AI, that means that you are deemed as less valuable than that machine. That means that the human is being put before the machine, when really the machine is the tool and the human is the one that's actually executing the actual work. The human is what's driving productivity, but you are being paid less because they choose to invest in a machine. That is something that should have people in an uproar. For some reason, it's very quiet. No one's going around and really speaking about it. I mean, even when we look at the lack of return on investment when it comes to AI, and now we're seeing, of course, we already saw the job cuts, but now we're seeing the slashing of salaries, all while forgetting that there's so much research out here highlighting how AI has not truly contributed to a return on investment for many organizations, and only about 16% have actually scaled. That's a big issue. So, when we look at that, we're like, so the people that are actually being cut are the ones that are designing the work, overseeing the tools, fixing the actual mistakes, and actually carrying the risk, right? Doing all the heavy lifting, doing everything that comes about with going about and ensuring productivity and advancement within the workplace. All the type of work that we're doing, And so you're thinking that you're going to invest in these technologies, or that these technologies that your business is investing in and providing for you is going to help you have an ease of work, right? No. It has been found that it does not contribute to that. And so, regardless of that, that means that you, the worker, are going to actually be the one overworking. So, you're going to be overworked and then paid less. That is something that must be understood and something that needs to be recognized, because that's a problem when we're going into, because as we all know, us as the human, we are the actual asset, while the tool is there to assist us, nothing more. AI is there to assist. It is not there to fully execute, right? So that means that the human is the asset, the human is the oversight, the human is the driver of performance, the human is the key to business success. But for some reason, that is being forgotten, and everything keeps contributing to this idea of us putting the tool before the human, and that can't be done. And that's because there is a lack of true leadership, a true leadership in understanding what AI strategy is needed to drive performance, what AI strategy is needed to move the modern workplace forward, right? And that first begins with understanding that the human is the asset and that the AI is the tool. And that's first and foremost. And that is the key to having true guidance and leadership in how to shift the new modern workplace, by looking at not slashing jobs, but recreating the modern workforce, recreating how we work, and understanding that you're building a future of work. We're already really in the future of work, right? And you can't build the future of work if you don't understand the value of the human, the value that we bring and that we contribute. Mind you, the human is the one that's buying the products and services. The human is the one that's driving the performance and executing, all of the goals and tasks that achieved. That's the human. Yes, there may be tools that are utilized by the human, but the human is the key to what all of that is about. The human is the one that's going to be here in the end, not the machine, the human, unless you just want it to be the matrix, Other than that, it can't be that way. That is not the whole function of this. So let me get into it. I was doing my talking. I forgot to do my backgrounds, Let me get with it. Let me find a good picture for us. Hold on one second, y'all. because I feel like I'm having this conversation all the time when it comes to AI. And so I'm going to put up the Mona Lisa. There she is. I feel like I'm having this conversation all the time. I feel like nothing is changing with the understanding of AI. Everyone thinks that it is there to replace us. It is not there to replace us. It is a tool. AI is a tool. We as humans are the asset. We are the ones that are executing the overall productivity, the goals, and ensuring the profitability and return on investment of anything within a business. That is the human. We're the driver of success. And that is something that must be understood. So when we go into our workspaces and we communicate with leadership, or we as leaders maintain these positions in our businesses as leaders, then we need to stand up and help individuals that are lost in the sauce, because we over here looking like this. I'm tired. I'm tired of saying that AI is a tool. I'm tired of looking like this. AI is a tool. It is not here to replace us, the human. We got to stop being out here thinking that that's what it's for. It's not. It's not here to replace. It is here to enhance and to streamline operations. And it is something that must be understood. So for us, as we go into our workspaces and we move within our lives and within society, yes, we want to invest in these tools. But at the same time, we must understand that they are tools and they are not here to replace. They can't replace. They can't. All the lives that I've recently just done, just go back and check them, because I'm over here looking like this. I'm tired. I'm tired of repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over. It is a tool. It is not designed to replace. It is designed to streamline, to reduce redundancy, and even then, it requires the human for oversight. The human to ensure that goals are achieved effectively, to ensure that performance is desired and optimal, all contributing to productivity and a business's bottom line. That is what it's for. It's to enhance the dollar value and nothing more. And corporations love money. And so AI is assumed to bring money. But AI can't bring money if the human is not there to oversee, if the human is not there to ensure that everything is being executed effectively. That's the overall goal. So slashing positions, slashing compensation, that's not going to benefit the business in the long run. It's just not. There's no longevity when you look at that. All that's doing is creating a lack of workforce in the end, a lack of talented individuals who will also go on to create something that will, compete against AI. Because that when you're letting go of the creative innovation within your corporation, then you're letting go and releasing them to be your competition. That is something that must be understood. These corporations are cutting jobs, cutting salaries. They're treating the individuals, the humans, as if they aren't the actual asset, when really they are the asset. And when you're doing that, that means that you are contributing to making your competitors a larger and more, effective against you, because you have not invested properly in your workforce. If you're not effectively investing in your workforce, that means that you're creating competitors. That's what that means. And then if you're creating those competitors, that means they're taking that innovation that you could have benefited from, and now they're going to pass you up and create something that's greater than what you'll ever understand or have. And that's one thing why it's important to always understand the value of the human and the value of your workforce, because it's not that's what's going to help your business to succeed. And when you understand that and you treat individuals accordingly by valuing them, compensating them well, and not taking from them to invest in tools, then you don't have to worry about competitors. Your business will still be effective and efficient. But those are just the ideas of everything, and how we go about with true leadership, because good leadership recognizes the value of the workforce and recognizes that by valuing the workforce, they are not benefiting to their competitors. That's something that must be understood, and something that must be understood, because if you're not valuing your workforce, that future workforce will be your competition. Well, that's something to learn And I hope everybody has enjoyed this talk today. I'll be back tomorrow with another amazing topic. If you have any suggestions, don't forget to put that in the comments below. And as always, be the change, love yourself and others. Bye.